For Pickup Lab, I typically bring you a really advanced concept. This month, I want to bring you sort of a way of looking at game and advanced concepts and not getting in your own way. A good friend of mine who's amazing at game, he has this phrase, he says, I assume I'm always a white belt, right? Because he also does like fighting and MMA and that kind of stuff. But he takes that assumption that he's a white belt and he has a lot to learn, right? I think that's a very good way to approach game, and I think that as you get good at game, as you get really, really good, as you get to advanced expert levels in game, it's very easy to get attached to the idea that you're good at game, and it's very easy to sort of take for granted certain things that are like very good, that are very useful to you in game. And what I'm talking about is particularly here is what I call the low-hanging fruit. Okay, the better you get in game, the more low-hanging fruit there's going to be. So for example, for me, right, I'm very good at game across the board. I'm also really, really good at online game. If I wanted to, I could get date after date after date after date from OkCupid, Match.com, Tinder, whatever. But a lot of times I don't do it because at this point I almost like don't count that, right? I don't count that as a victory, which is kind of weird because it is, right? Whatever skill set you have, you learned it somewhere, you have it, you may as well utilize it. But it's so easy to get arrogant and be like, no, that one doesn't count because it was online. That one doesn't count because it was the end of the night and she was a little tipsy. That one doesn't count because, I got introduced by my friend, it wasn't a cold approach. Whatever the reasons are. And low-hanging fruit is a good thing. Okay, and understand also, like what's low-hanging fruit to you is not necessarily low-hanging fruit. It's so easy to think that just because a girl likes you naturally, that you're like, oh, she just likes any guy, she has no standards. No. You've worked on yourself for years. You're awesome, you're amazing. That's why she likes you. If I go back to when I was 18 years old and first learning game, I would not get any of the reactions I get now. And so, say I have a poll that it just seems like it was the easiest thing in the world. It was the easiest thing in the world because I did 100 different or 1,000 different things really, really well. Right? Because I've learned them, I've ingrained them. But value your low-hanging fruit. Okay, so manifestation of that. We're here at Mardi Gras doing immersion in New Orleans, and it's nuts. Like it's a total shit show. All right, you go out on the street and you're getting shoved around. There are places on the street where you try and walk and you're getting pushed backwards physically, so you can't even go anywhere. And all the girls are with like these big groups, and it's chaos. And as an advanced guy, you'd like to think to yourself like, okay, I can make anything happen. I'll just approach the most crazy, ridiculous scenarios. And maybe sometimes you can, but that said, it may also be like a waste of your time. It may also not be the best way to go. And then there is low-hanging fruit. For example, if you get off the street and go into bars, that's easier game than if you're on the street. It's less like crazy. It's less like specifically Mardi Gras-ish. It's a lot more like a normal night out, but it's a lot easier. Or the easiest way to get laid at Mardi Gras, in my opinion, is don't go on the main street, go on the side street. And I like you like perked up at that. You're like, easiest way to get laid at Mardi Gras. Let me hear this. That's awesome. One of my assistants just looked over. Easiest way to get laid at Mardi Gras, in my opinion, go on like near the side streets, just off of the main street, and look for the hot girl that is walking by herself. Okay, now quite possibly her friends ditch her and she's by herself. Quite possibly she's looking for her friends. But you're gonna have a window of time with her where you have a one-on-one, logistics are good and good things can happen, all right? The majority of the polls that I've heard of happening from me, my crew, the assistants, all that kind of stuff throughout this week have been scenarios where it's been logistically feasible. So no matter how advanced you are, every hot girl at some point is going to be in a logistically feasible situation just as much as an unattractive girl will as well, okay? So don't be that guy that's like, oh, I have to go, do the difficult thing or like, walk on water and do backflips. Do the easy thing. Do the easy thing. And don't think that just because it was an easy situation, that game is ever actually easy or that like it wasn't worth it, all right? I'll tell you this. So last night, I ended up essentially pulling, to one degree or another, the 3 hottest girls I met during the night. One of them I met in a bar, and I had a wing, and we took them home, and we almost made it happen, but we had a problem when we got to their hotel. There was some like weird wristband shit at their hotel, and like the doorman like kicked us out and made it super awkward, and it fucked it all up, right? Completely unpredictable variable once we got back to the place. Couldn't have really handled it. Didn't know in advance. Shit happens, right? Next one was a girl that I'd actually seen in that same bar earlier, and I was like, I want to talk to her. And here's another thing. I didn't talk to her because I was in the bathroom line and she was in the other bathroom line, and I heard some dudes talking as though they were her friends, and it sounded like they were all together and they were hooking up and shit like that. I'm like, fuck, it's low percentage, I won't bother with it. So I never even approached her in the bar. That said, I saw her later on in the night on the street alone, went and approached her. Actually went really, really well. She was super down. She was meeting a friend. I grabbed a wingman, got the wingman on the friends. Wingman wasn't able to do anything with the friend, so it fell apart. But it was really, really close. And again, this was another one of like the top 2 absolute hottest girls that I met that night. Third one I met that night, again on the street, again looking for a friend, and she actually completely blew me off. So even the easy scenario, not that easy. For the first 30 seconds, she blew me off. But then once I got through the bitch shield and did the thing that being advanced, allows you to do, which is get in that situation other guys can't, because the logistics were good, I was able to actually, pull and get a result. So don't get in this idea of it's fool's mate, or it was too easy, or it doesn't count. It all counts, all right? What did you get into game for? Did you get into game to like make it difficult, or did you get into game to get hot girls in your life and to make it easy, right? Why does it have to be some kind of pure form artistic thing for it to work, right? Most of the time, my best, most epic sets, I can't even remember anything that happened in them because it was so smooth and fluid that it just seemed like it was just happening. It just seemed natural, and I was applying all these lessons I'd ingrained. All right, the sets that are actually the most interesting to me are some of my lesser, worse sets, because that's where like I'm a little off and I have a lot of obstacles to overcome. Understand that game is supposed to be easy. All right, so don't call it a shoe. Don't have a negative view towards the low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit is a good thing, and just because it's low-hanging fruit in that moment does not mean it's low-hanging fruit overall. Okay, what's the opposite of being an opportunist? What, like an opportunity avoider? You don't want to be that. That's fucking stupid, right? So understand that a lot of good game is artistic and skillful and whatnot, but a lot of good game is opportunistic. And don't be so like high and mighty on your, no, I do game the right way, I don't take the easy shot. No, be opportunistic. Be fucking bloodthirsty and play to win rather than playing to like look good and like achieve some epic story, all right? And don't have this idea, just get rid of your ego about game. Get rid of your ego about being good at things. Get rid of your ego about how pretty it should be. Just think, how do I win? What is the closest path between me and the result I want, and walk that path. That's what anybody who's successful in just about any area of life does. The people that get too caught up on the narrative or the story they're telling themselves are people that are getting in their own way.